Right. So I think we're good to go. I think we should start. And yeah, welcome everyone who has just joined. It is a little weird, admittedly, to not have video on this and not see your faces, but still pretty cool to connect over voice too. Today we have StakeWise Community Call number 2 after almost a 4-month break from the previous one, and we have plenty of things in store for today's call. I will not sort of spoil the details, and instead, what I'll do is I'll jump right into it. So let's just look in the mirror. So what is the current status of the protocol? We have around $124 million in total value locked. And even though it seems like a significant sum, and I mean, it is a significant sum, this is, in our perspective, not something that we can be super proud of. We definitely can squeeze out much more and need to keep pushing. However, what we are proud of is the huge community, huge user base that we have gathered over these past few months. We have around 3,000 people staking with us over Pool and Solo, which is an amazing achievement. And on behalf of myself and Dima and our other team members that have just been joining us over the past few weeks, we are super grateful to have all of you staking with StakeWise. For the longest time ever, those of you who have been with us since our launch in March, you probably remember we haven't had liquid staking enabled yet. And this changed at the end of June when we launched our first liquidity pools on Uniswap V3. It was a bet on new technology, and even though it is a pretty complex product, I think we can be very happy about how things are turning out so far. We are really excited about low slippage, like super low slippage on even the largest trades on this liquidity of $80 million. And we really want to continue using this liquidity pool as our base for the bridge between staked Ether and Ether. We also wanted to touch on the yields topic. So something that StakeWise has always prioritized, or I should say the StakeWise team has prioritized, is churning out the highest returns for the users and giving. Ooh, someone's joining with an unmuted mic. So yeah, give maximum returns to users, and so far we believe we have been holding ourselves up to the promise, both in terms of the staking yield and the farming yield on the major liquidity pools. We offer the best returns on your capital, and this is something that we hope to continue leading in as we approach the next stages of our development. With this recap, we really believe that there are a few things that we need to consider as a community and as a development team. So, sorry, there's just someone talking in the background. So one of them is, how do we actually grow TVL?
Yeah, if you want, I can help you mod people and mute them if you want during the call. I know it's kind of hard when.
That'd be appreciated, very much appreciated.
I'm not sure. Yeah, if you want, I can help.
We're already on it.
If someone can also share it with Shirky Jobs, then that'd be cool. So yeah, the questions that we need to ponder is, how do we grow from here? How do we do 10x? How do we do 100x? What is the next sort of booster stage for our protocol? We also need to think about how do we approach integrations across DeFi? How do we make our version of Stake Ether the widespread version of interest-bearing asset that it should be? Yet again, another question is, how do we utilize the community that we have to create something that lasts for a long time, that can sustain itself without some sort of centralized architecture? And then finally, for all of you who are holding SWISE and are earning SWISE in the farms, it is the question of how do we add value to SWISE? How do we make it appreciate as much as it can? And the answers to these questions, are unclear, but the team believes that it is on the right track with what it is about to tell you today. And without further ado, I am very proud to talk about the birth of an ecosystem, or rather just introduce the section about the birth of an ecosystem. And why we're talking about it is really because we have developed a product that supports the creation of ecosystem around itself, and not just an ordinary one, not a simple DAO, but a very, very vibrant organization. And the foundation for this is, of course, StakeWise version 2, which has been a long time in the making. And we should probably stop here for just a little bit of appreciation of, what a big milestone this is. I'm super keen to continue talking, but I think Dimitri will be able to be the better messenger of what is in store in StakeWise V2. And with that, I give him over the mic.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining again. I've been here. We also in the same room with Kirill. I would be happy to tell you more about the significant improvements that we've done to the StakeWise since the first version. There are multiple components of that. Here we're gonna present more overall improvements, and later on we will present more material in terms of details of what has been improved exactly, and where we will take that from there. So some of the key parts that are worth mentioning is the significantly improved Oracle system. Oracles are the key part of any ETH2 liquid staking protocol, and this is something that we are very proud of to advance the most. There are also the decentralization part as of the validators, something we've been working as well on, and I'm gonna tell you a bit later. And last but not least is the tools and incentives for seamless integration. We see that improving and simplifying the way other projects and any other users that we have can interact with StakeWise can bring it to the larger audience. This is something we will cover here as well. So as it comes to the decentralization, StakeWise DAO will be able to onboard new operators. That's something which sounds short, but it's quite hard to achieve from the specificity of ETH2 staking in general. And in our case, we have the StakeWise DAO to be able to decide who are the actual node operators that are going to run the validators. As of today, it's the infrastructure is run by the team, the StakeWise team, but in future, the DAO can choose whoever he wants to onboard further. There are some highlights. It brings the new standard in trustless ETH2 staking. We found that the existing solutions are not complete. There are some problems that are crucial from the security and trustlessness point of view, and we've been working towards that as well. it will allow us to grow from the TVL point multiple X. That's something which is important for in the general growth of the project, bringing more integrations and in general growing the ecosystem. We also worked on the client failure protection. There were several incidents on ETH2 since the start when some of the clients had some problems in terms of the new versions or releases. And in our case, we've been working on a solution that could allow easily for node operators to switch from one client to another client with almost zero downtime. So that there will be no attestation losses or proposal losses, and at the same time keep the APR as high as possible and keeping the security as of the client failures. At the same time, there is like a significant improvement in terms of the decentralization for the node operator onboarding. That's something that we will also like tell a bit later. And as it comes to the integrations, it will be much simpler to integrate with StakeWise. There are multiple things that our partners and potential other projects who will be working together with StakeWise could benefit from and share with their users and join our community. So as it comes to the oracles, they became more like smarter than previously. Now they will be capable of not only updating the rewards for the users as of today, like the oracles. The goal of the oracles is to synchronize the balances of the validators from ETH2 chain and submit them to the smart contracts on the ETH1 chain. This way we can like mint the new RF2 tokens and based on the amount staked by the user. So currently this is like something that the oracles are doing, but they are capable of doing much more and in the new version of V2. So here are the improvements that we bring to the table. One is that the oracles voting will happen off-chain, and the aggregated signature will be submitted on-chain. What it basically means is that it will allow us to scale the number of oracles to very large amounts. That will basically make the oracles more decentralized and fault tolerant towards any like failures to the way they are running. At the same time, we can increase the number of the periodicity of the times the rewards are paid out. So currently they are paid once per day, but with the upgraded system, it could happen more often, depending on how the DAO will decide how often we wanted to do that. At the same time, as there will be no new potential node operators joining the infrastructure part, oracles will be able to score the way they run the validators. That's something important to keep in mind when you are choosing the node operator you want to run. When you are choosing the node operator when you want to run the next validator. So you can basically, they will be able to monitor the performance of different node operators, score them, and based on that, decide who is the next one, who is the good choice for the next validator to land on. And yeah, the gas efficiency also comes from the off-chain voting and aggregated signature on-chain submission. As it comes to the integrations, there are different entities or different projects in DeFi, in the Ethereum ecosystem, that are potentially interested in bringing staking, ETH2 staking to the users. Those are wallets, DAOs, exchanges, and custodians. And what we see is that it's the biggest kind of problem for them to integrate is the UI part. It's the way they're gonna call the smart contracts, and in general, bringing some important information to the users at the same time. So here we worked on several improvements that could simplify and make the ETH2 staking from other projects for StakeWise more appealing. One of them is the revenue sharing program. So if we decide, like if the DAO decides that there should be that some wallet would benefit from revenue sharing program, the DAO can vote to onboard it. That will basically mean that some of the percentage of REF earned from the protocol fees gonna be distributed to the DAO or the wallet that brought those new users. At the same time, we're working on the SWISE referral program. That's something also that will simplify or like make more appealing the proposal of onboarding other wallets and exchanges. And as of the developers, we've been working on Subgraph. So that's something that is the product of the Graph protocol, which allows anyone to do the GraphQL queries towards the StakeWise that is built on top of our smart contracts, and basically grab any information around the project, around the revenue or like the rewards earned, and the developer SDK for the integrations. That's something we feel would be really helpful for other UIs to provide, like to allow ETH2 staking through that interface. And of course, all of that things are the subject to the DAO approvals. This is something we see that would benefit StakeWise, but of course, we would really appreciate you guys giving your opinion about those things and decide on what we should bring on or not. So I will pass it back to Kirill to tell us about the upcoming integrations and what's coming from that side.
Thank you, Dima. Yeah, I'm super excited about V2. With regards to upcoming integrations, the ones that we have listed here on the slide are basically the ones that we currently see have a good likelihood of moving forward. We obviously are not disclosing names for special reasons, but we are pretty excited about the pipeline that we managed to get over a short time that we have been chatting to other ecosystem participants with regards to StakeWise V2. And just to recap, this whole StakeWise development enables us to build what we consider the ultimate DAO, where the layers of participants are multiple. There are the institutional users that come from perhaps the exchanges and custodian side from the traditional finance world. There are wallets and DAOs that can come into the protocol from the DeFi space. There are obviously users who can partake in the staking pool and have a direct say in the DAO. And then there are also node operators that are sort of this foundational layer to StakeWise that can come in and also help us build a fully decentralized liquid staking protocol. And as Dimitri mentioned, and as I remind you all, this whole effort is super contingent on how we organize as a community, how we as SWISE holders coordinate with each other, share our voices, share our opinions, and vote in order to make the protocol its best version of itself. So we really hope to see increased participation in what's to come, and actually also want to propose you something that can help us with this coordination. And this leads me to precisely this part, community being the engine of growth. So right now, according to our estimates, we have over 3,500 unique people following StakeWise across social media, our community channels, and of course, simply being stakers in the protocol. However, we're seeing that in the DAO votes, the number is obviously quite smaller, so to say. It is considerable compared to other protocols, but we definitely feel like our DAO can do much, much better. And whenever we think about how many people follow StakeWise in one way or another, we cannot help but think about what could have been if all of these people were actively contributing to the protocol's success. And in team's mind, we have all of the resources and tools to enable these people to transition from simply being a follower and a sort of vanilla user to becoming a power user and an active participant in the DAO. And with this being said, we have a proposal to introduce you, which we call the StakeWise Acceleration Taskforce, or SWAT in short. We are pretty proud of how the shortened name turned out, but it's actually all about the content of this acceleration task force. So could you guys please check your mics if maybe someone hasn't muted? Excellent, thank you very much. Yeah, what is the StakeWise Acceleration Task Force, or SWAT for short, all about? It is essentially a continuous bounty program that we are proposing that would allow anybody who is interested in participating in the protocol and being incentivized to do it to perform or complete assignments that are curated by the DAO based on its OKRs and needs, and earn experience points in exchange, and then receive SWISE tokens that the DAO allocates towards this bounty program proportionately to how many experience points they have. So what this allows us to do is decentralize and democratize the participation in the DAO, where people, simply by virtue of possessing grit, talent, time, and interest, can contribute to DAO's further development and earn SWISE this way instead of perhaps spending capital on it. Obviously, both ways are encouraged, but we wanted to open up the avenues for incentivized DAO participation, and this is it. So what would it look like? We envision this rather simple 5-step process where a user, say a StakeWisean, if you want to call him that, or maybe it's StakeWazowski. We have been experimenting with names. Can pick an assignment from the list that has been curated by the DAO, and here we really welcome your thoughts on how this can happen. We obviously have our own opinions, but please ponder on the question. So they pick from a list of assignments and they go on to complete it. What they then do is they submit proof, and we believe to have a system to automate this as much as possible via forms that automatically add this data about what they have done to a public database that is available to everyone, for everyone to see, and their actions would then be scored there, thus earning them some XP. So once they earn these experience points and they start accruing for their particular address, because we are linking people to their addresses, they would be partaking in a distribution of SWISE on some sort of regular basis. And what happens then is really up to the user. What they could do is keep going through the loop as many times over as they want to consistently earn higher experience points, and comparatively to depending on how well they perform against others, essentially receive more SWISE and increase their say in the protocol, or they can take it easy and keep it at some baseline level. But they would need to be aware that their XP points they would depreciate over time. They would start going away after a period of inactivity. So what we hope this will do is encourage people to participate actively in order to keep their experience points high and their earnings from actively contributing to the protocol stable. And those that actually want to play the game over and over again, be able to do this and receive consistently higher share of the SWISE rewards. We believe that this is only fair. But a lot of this, I would actually say, all of this is subject to the discussion in the forum, and we'll get to that. From a macro perspective, how we envision the SWAT working is the DAO curating the list, basically submitting a list of assignments and also deciding on the amount of SWISE bounty to allocate towards this program. And then SWAT members picking up tasks from this assignment list and being awarded SWISE for their activity. We see that there are broadly 4 categories in which they can contribute. And it will be up to the DAO. It should be up to the DAO to decide how much XP each of the assignments can yield the SWAT members. But in the end, we do see that it should be more than doable to assign these experience points fairly, because we should be working as a DAO across trackable OKRs, which is key objectives and results, and grading the potential impact of each of the assignment against the movement towards completing these OKRs. So there are 4 categories: socials, community, tech, and DAO. So socials is really just, in our view, and happy to discuss this, is raising awareness about StakeWise anywhere that people who haven't encountered it before, or maybe they have but haven't decided, can come and see what's happening. And it can be anything. It can be good, it can be bad, it can be fair, it can be unfair. But the idea is that there needs to be a consistent flow of information about StakeWise from the community and from the users, because word of mouth is very important in DeFi. This would be one section, being very active on socials with various things. Second is the community. This is something that relates to how different members of it help others to advance with using the product, with fixing issues, reporting bugs, and so forth. And the list there is huge. We could use more community assistance. It is already amazing in Discord. On Telegram, it is occasionally sort of lagging, but from our perspective, there is never like an ideal moment where we just stop becoming helpful for each other, and we just need to keep pushing in this direction. Another section is tech, and this is really anything related to the development. We have been super lucky to receive contributions from community members over time in terms of integrating into Ledger, for example, and building our front end, and working on actually the SDK right now. You know who you are, guys, and others in the community probably know too. And this is one area where we see that there can be continued contributions that should be rewarded. And this is perhaps one of the priority areas. And then finally, it is the DAO, which relates to internal stuff and also external stuff, basically advancing the interests of the organization in and out, participating in voting, making proposals on our forum and other forums, volunteering to oversee certain functions, and so forth. Some concrete examples are in front of you. So there can be product reviews, blog posts, Twitter threads, guides, walkthroughs. They can be done in video, audio, in pictures. There can be participation in contests, a little more on that later, but it's anything really about memes, merchandise, stories, investment cases, anything. Reddit and Twitter activity, I'm just reading from the slide now, integration proposals in other DeFi protocols, and in general active involvement in our own DAO. And yet again, there are perhaps more impactful but progressively harder assignments that relate to code-based contributions and review, community management and support, and headhunting and business development. I think this community, the people that I have encountered, that I'm very grateful to encounter, have a lot of talent, and they come from different walks of life that we can definitely cover all of these sections if we want to. So with this being said, this is just a proposal, and this is something that we want you to think about in your own time. Maybe gather your thoughts before we post an official proposal on the DAO forum. But what we also wanted to mention is that we want to reinstate community calls, and we want to do them bi-weekly. And they need not be as formal as today, perhaps. We really want to open up the stage for everyone and make it more of a hangout style. Obviously, there will be things where we do some formal discussions or presentations, but it doesn't need to be this way, all the time. It's not fun. And we want to keep it as fun as possible. And then finally, the merchandise design contest that we have kind of mulled on Discord several times. So more news on this are coming this week, but to put it in a nutshell, we have identified a set of items that people seem to be interested in acquiring with the StakeWise branding, the merchandise. And I think these were hoodies, t-shirts, caps, and mugs. So the question comes down to is what is the design that we put on there? Brian has done some amazing things and chosen some quality product with his own efforts, and I encourage him in particular to put forth his sort of design proposal with what he has already put on the merchandise, but also encourage others to submit your own designs in the competition that we will start, where the people that contribute their designs can potentially receive royalties when the DAO votes for their design in particular and puts it on the StakeWise merchandise. So for everyone with spoiled it. For everyone with a design sort of nugget in them, please stay tuned for more news about this, and definitely do participate. We on the StakeWise side will be submitting our own designs, but we will by no means basically encourage to support these precisely because we have seen some amazing memes and amazing pictures coming out of the community, and we want to tap more into this. Right. I've been talking for too long, and I'll probably pass the mic back over to Dima for the final part of our press.
Right. Thanks, Kirill. And the last part of that presentation is about our most loved one token, SWISE token. That's something what we've been really thinking through. What exactly we can work on that next, how we can like improve the utility of the SWISE token. As of today, it's our governance token. All the decisions are made by voting with SWISE, but we feel that we can bring even more value to the token by giving it more features. So for some time, there was a proposal about SWISE staking on our forum. There were like a lot of different opinions and angles to that topic. All of them were really exciting and interesting, and something that was really interesting to see the discussions around that topic. So we thought about all the opinions, and as of today, we see that it's hard to implement or to have all of the opinions baked into the functionality. So, but there is still some value accrual mechanism requested. So, introducing you our thoughts about what is the value accrual mechanism for SWISE, and that's literally distributing the protocol fees to all SWISE holders. So the protocol fees, as we all know, are the 10% from the staking rewards that are earned by the pool. And what we want to propose to the DAO is to distribute the protocol fees to the SWISE holders. And for that, there is no need to lock the SWISE anywhere. There is no need to lock it for any period of time. The only criteria for that would be to hold that in your wallet. What it allows to do is allows to bring an extra incentive to hold SWISE and hedge the impairment loss for SWISE LPs. What it basically means is that in case we will have, not in case, but we will definitely need to have another pool for SWISE token, liquidity pool, and when providing a liquidity for SWISE token, you will continue earning the protocol fees in form of RF2 tokens by providing the liquidity, but not lose that feature when providing the liquidity. That's the similar mechanism that is used with SF2 token as of today. When you provide liquidity for it, you continue earning staking rewards. There are, of course, some cons that we need to consider. There could be an alternative usage of the protocol fees. There is a price decrease when SWISE emission is higher than TVL growth. So those are the things that we need to consider as well. As of today, if we get that implemented, according to the SWISE market cap and the amount of protocol fees that are received, in annual it will be around 14% APR by just holding SWISE on your wallet. So we would be really happy to receive your opinions about that proposal, and that's something to land on the forum in the close time. And the next, so the next things to do here is to propose that on the DAO forum for the discussion and potentially the voting, and at the same time move the LP from the 1 inch to something different as Sushi or Uniswap. That's something we need to do as well, and at the same time keep that RF distribution for the LPs that provide the liquidity. And that's it. That's everything we had for that presentation. Thanks everyone for listening to it. I'm probably pass back to Kirill. He knows what we're gonna do next from now.
I think there's nothing else left but to just recap that it is StakeWise V2 with decentralization of the protocol to other node operators that supports TVL growth and integrations with other protocols and dApps and wallets. it is the community effort that should help us get more awareness and TVL, and we have a proposal to incentivize it, and it is the value accrual mechanism for SWISE, where the team sees potential for SWISE to become a more lucrative asset to hold by distributing protocol fees to the SWISE holders. Again, just to remind you, the figures we shared with you are not to be construed as financial advice, and this is just a mathematical calculation that we provided. It is just an example. It's an estimation. But yeah, with this being said, thank you very much for listening for for so long. I think it's it would be amazing to just open up the room for talks and chat and questions and any sort of comment that you guys want to make. Thank you.
Nein, warum? Weil alles schön war.
Sorry, did someone say something? Right.
Any questions, people? Any questions? Don't be shy. Just unmute your mic. Ask away.
Hey there. This might be a bit technical, but it's considering the Oracle voting, the new oracles. So you mentioned that the new Oracle voting will happen off-chain, unless I misheard.
Right.
So what chain is used for the off-chain voting, and what's the consensus mechanism on the off-chain?
Right. So the way we design that is when the oracles are voting, like currently they submit the votes directly to on-chain, and that's like what's the problem here is that with a number of oracles, with a larger number of oracles, we have more transactions submitted. That's with the current gas cost could be really expensive. So there is a as for the signature. So what the oracles in V2 potentially can do, they can like in the same way calculate the rewards, the new rewards for like synchronized from the ETH2 chain. They can sign that with their private key and submit the signature together with the arguments that they think are the correct ones to the IPFS.
Right. So this is essentially zero knowledge proofs.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So basically, by having them all the votes on IPFS, and what else? What else they can do? They can link that IPFS file to the IPNS record. So anyone can just go to the IPNS record of the particular oracle and read the signature, the last signature that it provided. And yeah, anyone can aggregate those signatures, and if enough signatures for the same data is aggregated and sent to the on-chain within single transaction, that data is considered valid and is submitted to the contracts. So as a result, there could be like a keeper node that could be run by anyone, by any community member, or by ourselves, who will look through the latest votes on IPFS from the oracles, aggregate the signatures into like one transaction call and submit that on chain. So, and by that we will have we can have a large amount of oracles, but at the same time have just one transaction for updating the data, and it could like save the gas cost for us.
Right. Thanks for the answer. I had one more.
Sure.
It's related to the funny named StakeWise Acceleration Taskforce, SWAT. So will there be a way to suggest tasks to be added to the assignments? So for example, say there isn't one task that you would be up to do. Is there a way to suggest that to the DAO?
Absolutely. I think this is exactly what we want to encourage. Basically, the DAO feeding of its own sort of comments, opinions, and results to constantly update and curate the list of assignments. It is much needed that people come up with their own ideas of how they can be helped. Impossible to capture this sort of centrally, and for this reason, yeah, there will be. I would envision there should be a form to submit your own ideas and get it included into the curated.
Right. Thanks. One more final question. Where can I buy SWISE without so much slippage? I just looked on 1inch and it's impossible.
Right. Good question. I think 1inch, it's pretty bad in terms of slippage, and unfortunately, there is no other way to get it right now. It is a pretty bad deal in terms of gas if you are buying for low amounts, and hence the new liquidity pool for SWISE could not come any sooner. I do believe there was some amount traded on L2s, but I think it's probably, it might be too small. So the bottom line is I cannot give you a good answer. It is definitely difficult to get your hands on SWISE if you want to buy it outright.
Yeah, I think
Right.
probably.
Thanks for the answer. I'll just buy some from you after this. See ya.
Right. See ya.
Any more questions?
Hello.
Hola.
On the Discord, at least, the number one complaint I see all the time seems to be that has to do with gas fees. Is there any possibility of moving StakeWise contracts to Arbitrum or some other L2 system? Is that within possibility?
Yeah, I think it's something maybe for to consider for V3. I think there are several like technical problems or maybe like difficulties, I would rather say, that we need to solve to move that to any like other network out there. So I think like as of V2, it's concentrated around the functionality and security and like decentralization in general. But as soon as we're gonna deal with that, we can definitely concentrate on L2s, and hopefully by that time there will be much more support and much seamless migration towards like L2 solutions out there. But we are following like Optimism, Polygon, and like most of the popular L2 solutions out there, and thinking like how we can already now do any sort of the preparations to make it seamless for us to like move to any L2 solution.
Excellent, thanks.
Welcome.
If you guys have questions but for some reason cannot use the mic, I think it's also feasible to write the question in the chat.
Yeah, hi, my name is Ilya. I'm an artist based in Stockholm.
Hey!
Hi, I'm also a staker with you guys in the near future. I've been following the Discord with excitement. Also, I love the StakeWise Acceleration Taskforce name and the whole thing, that you probably have a lot of talent coming in, people staking. It'd be interesting from, all over, and including myself, who's from the contemporary art world. And I think it's exciting to see what you're doing, and also in terms of what artwork could do for you and how art could already be integrated within your visual world, and the world that you're already building. So it's not a question so much per se, just a shout out from Sweden at the moment. And Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ilya. Have we met in Tallinn? Have you visited?
We
the
did
Lyft
meet
office?
Edgar and the Mutagen team briefly.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
yes. It is exciting to have you here. Thank you.
Thanks.
You for attending. Yeah, I think it would be amazing for. Sorry, my screen keeps shutting down. It would be amazing for StakeWise to do something in the NFT space. I would be super excited to see that, and we definitely need to make it happen. I'll make a proposal, or I would personally add this to the curated list, like hands down. So I think we are pretty much almost done time-wise. I see that somebody mentioned that it would be good to do a deep dive into the architecture. I think this is to come with like a blog post, and then we will be making a bigger official announcement about this once we have more traction with regards to decentralization. So right now, I think there was a slide I skipped on, talking too quick, I think. We need to first of all do the proposal and pass the proposal for the deployment of StakeWise V2 in the DAO, because this is something that needs to be a collective decision, considering the revenue sort of stream into the treasury would be different if we do this. So for the new node operators, the validators that they host, they would want to charge a certain amount, and we as a DAO need to consider what is the fair amount, and it's probably going to be, it might be different based on the different node operators. We also need to complete the audits, and as we mentioned, this is supposed to be the most secure decentralization architecture. Dimitri sort of tries to forces me to avoid this, but I'm very, very keen for people to see it once the audits are complete and we're actually live with it. And of course, there is the ongoing discussion with anybody that you've seen on the ecosystem slide that we need to get on board to make this vision happen. This is all in order to make StakeWise more resilient, more robust, decentralized, and more the most importantly, growing at its full potential. So this is where we are currently concentrating our efforts on, and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Right. I think we should probably wrap it up. It's been amazing to finally be able to tell you what we've been up to. I do hope that the recording came out fine. Sasha will have the audio. I hopefully will have the video working. But again, thank you all very, very much for attending, for staking with us, and yeah, let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Thanks for a great presentation. Yeah.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, folks.
LFG.
So yeah, you're selling me some of that.
Sure. I mean, ping me, DM.
I'll DM you right now.
I have some farmed, so I mean, I need to think whether I actually want to sell it because I'm not super keen. but yeah, let's chat. Okay. Yep. Thank you, everyone, guys. If anything, always ping myself or Dima. We're always around. And yeah, hugs from Estonia. Bye-bye.
See you.